Hey, so welcome back to the shop, friends. So in the last cutting board episode, we took a rough sawn board and we created a perfectly flat face. And today we're going to go ahead and start moving forward and creating some square stock with that, and then also starting the glue up process. So I've got several pieces of walnut, 2 pieces of walnut, and several pieces of cherry. And I have predetermined that I can get 3/4 of an inch thickness out of the cherry, and I can get 1 inch thickness out of the walnut. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mill the walnut up into 1 inch squares and the cherry up into 3/4 inch squares. So now that I have a flat face, I can use that reference down on my table saw joiner sled that I made, and then I can clamp that down to this and run it through the table saw and get a nice straight edge, a nice 90-degree edge along the board. Now by simply running that through the table saw using the joiner sled, now I have a perfectly straight edge that I can use as a reference to cut the 1 inch squares. Now that edge we just put on the board is also referenced from the flat face that we put on the board before. Be sure you mark your reference sides so that you don't forget. So I went ahead and took all these boards and got a straight edge on them in reference to the flat face. And now I can go ahead and take those to the table saw and cut those into the thickness that I desire, which is going to be 3/4 for the cherry and 1 inch for the walnut. So now I have stock that's square on 3 sides, and if I run it through the table saw using this reference face, I can get that 1 inch thickness here as well. So then the stock or the boards will be 1 by 1. So we got a bunch of 1 inch square walnut stock, and we're going to use this to glue up into our cutting board. I'm going to do the same thing with the cherry that we have, but that's going to be cut into 3/4 inch stock, and then we're going to glue it all together and make a really cool end grade cutting board. So now that we have the stock squared up, I'm going to go ahead and take the ends off so I can see the end grain a little bit better. Now it'll be a lot easier to make sure we alternate the grain in different directions. So I'm going to use my workbench as the glue up surface. I put down a piece of brown paper to protect my bench top, and I went ahead and trimmed off some of the longer ends of the pieces of stock so they're all about the same length. So this is going to be an end grain cutting board, so this is a part of the boards that are actually going to show. And I want the pattern of the grain to be alternating and sort of random. So I'm going through and just making sure the grain here is in different directions, and that'll give it a really cool look when it's done. Plus it'll make it stronger and less likely to bow. A silly brush for this, and a lot of you guys are wanting to know how hard it was to get dried glue off of the brush. And as you can see, it's on there and it's really dry. This has been on there for a few weeks. And it just peels Peels right out. On second thought, I think the glue roller will be a better option. Don't forget to have your clamps ready. Okay, so I've got these two glued up. These will be my first end grain cutting boards I've ever made. I've made edge grain cutting boards before that turned out really good. In fact, my pizza peel was made out of the wide surface of the boards glued together, and that turned out really nice. I use it all the time on the big green egg. But these are going to be Christmas presents, and they're going to be end grain, so the end of the boards will be showing. So I'm anxious to see how these things will turn out. So next time we'll cut these into small strips, and then we can glue them up again, and then that will show the end grain of the wood, and we can alternate the patterns of the walnut and cherry and make it look really nice. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it an inch in thickness or 1.5 inches. Once I get it all glued up, then we run it back through the planer and flatten everything out again, just like we did before with each board. So I think that's all the time we have for today, guys. Next time we'll cut these boards up and glue them together, and we'll be real close to getting these done. So I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching. Leave a thumbs up. See you in the next video.